Welcome to a place for those in search of truth and conviction, a place where we discuss culture, politics, philosophy, and everything in between. I'm Luke, and I'm here with Russ. This is Hardly Strictly Politics.
Hell yes, dear listener. The HSP boys are back in the saddle once again for episode number 72. Thank you so much for jumping in the saddle with us. 72, dear listener. What a cool-ass number, and can you believe it? 2 separate continents, 2 separate countries, 2 separate adult beverages just to make it fair, and 2 separate cups of coffee fee, 2 separate fact shamings, 2 separate show preps, 2 separate trails to the same inevitable conclusion. 72, dear listener. 72 is 6 dozen. 72 is the sum of 4 prime numbers. 13 plus 17 plus 19 plus 23 equals 72. 72 languages spoken at the Tower of Babylon. 72 disciples of both Jesus and Confucius, many other cool factors than these, dear listener, but none of that matters right now. And why is that? You know why it is, dear listener. Because the trail grows longer each and every single week. And 72 means that we've got 72 miles to ride on this trail right here, right now. So let's not tarry. Let's saddle up and ride into episode number 72, which is in the house presently. Find us on Facebook and Twitter at Zero Gravity Med. Send us feedback at zero-gravity-media.com. Subscribe to us on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Podbean, and TuneIn, all 5 under Zero Gravity Media. Find us on YouTube, look for Zero Gravity Media and our God tier, Zero G logo. We don't know what's up with Google Play, dear listeners, so Android dear listeners, if you could please write Google Play a letter, we would appreciate it. Leave us some feedback using the contact form at our website, zero-gravity-media.com/contact. Each week, Luke and I call out one city. And this city, the magic of this city, is the city with the most HSP listens during their previous week. So without any further ado, the city with the most HSP listens during the previous week is... Same as last week, dear listener, Mountain View, California, Ashburn, Virginia, and College Station, Texas. Once again, all 3 of y'all great cities. Thank y'all so much. We've already waxed romantic at y'all last week, so let's just not do it again this week. Let's get up and ride. Luke, how you doing, brother? What's up?
Good, man. How are you doing?
I'm all right, man. Rough morning.
It's all good, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, Russ's OS restarted in the middle of the night. The software we used to insert drops into the show live expired. We're back-ended on time. So anyways, this is going to be a short show as always, but not as always, but we got some feedback from some listeners over the last week or two that are enjoying the more short format. So we're going to keep it that way. Since we are back-ended on time, we are not going to waste much time in getting into this show. So I'll just hit the trail map really quick. Russ, what do you say about that?
Yeah, let's do it. All
right. So this week we are separating the show into 3 general sections. The first section being Biden and his gaffes, of which there are many to choose. And this is it's funny. It's white pilling. So anyways, we're going to hit that first. Then we're going to jump into primaries. We've got so many topics to talk about primaries. I mean, my gosh, what a complete disaster for the left. That's the only way to describe it, is a disaster in totality.
Yeah.
Is the only way one could describe it. And finally, if we make it there, and I hope we will, we've got some other sections, specifically some news about Mark Meadows. We're going to paint a little picture for you about Mark Meadows since he assumed office in January of 2013. If we can make it there, we will also insert in post-production. We will fix it in post. A clip from Senator Schumer about some of his, a gem, we'll put it that way, some gem comments, which I'm sure you've heard, dear listener. But without further ado, let's just jump right in on it. Russ, what was your favorite? I'm sorry, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, dear listener, we're galloping this week. We hope you understand we're not loping this week. We're at a gallop all this trail. Okay, so here we go.
That's right. We're committed. Yeah. I hope you're on a thoroughbred this week, dear listener, because you're going to need it.
So you're going to say, what's my favorite what?
Biden gaffe.
Oh, man.
This week.
I think
this week. You have to delimit it to this week.
Oh, dang.
Yeah. Still so hard to choose.
Yeah. We hold these we hold these, we hold these principles, God, no, I can't say God. I think that was my favorite one, right? Where he started trying to quote the Declaration of Independence and he just whiffed on it. Yeah.
You know, the thing.
That was it. That was how he put it. The thing, meaning God, so.
No, he wouldn't dare mention God.
Yeah, that's funny. Russ said that as well. He thought it was a rare moment of clarity on Biden's part where all of a sudden he realized, oh, shit, I can't say God, so I better back off this real quick, Well,
I think that I don't think it actually because I looked this up. I don't think they say God in that. It says we hold these truths to be self-evident. That all men are, I'm looking it up, are all created equal, that they're endowed by their creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and unfortunately, it should say property, but pursuit of happiness.
Yeah, right. It was creator where he gaffed, right? Because God, man, the left are godless. They can't acknowledge that. They can't acknowledge a creator because they are God. They are God, right? So, yeah. So
that's a good point.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So
I mean, same way with everyone says like, oh, communism was successful because that's what happens and you abandon God. I don't ascribe to that narrative, but it is true that if you're going to live under something like socialism or communism, the first thing you have to do is undercut all of the other prevailing philosophies which the given culture or society holds. And in the West and in China, I mean, basically everywhere. That basically that's some sort of superpower, some sort of supernatural entity, some otherworldly multiverse entity. And the first thing you have to do is undercut that, because you cannot have people looking to something higher than the government itself, such as a communist regime or a socialist regime. So actually, I hadn't even thought about that, but you make an astute observation.
Yeah, it's true. That you absolutely have to do that, because the state is God at that point in time. The state is the existential provider of everything. Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
And that's what, when people say, oh, it's because they abandoned God, my complaint is not that that didn't happen because they abandoned God. It happened, the concept of God, all they did was just change it out for another one.
Right. Exactly.
And usually that's enforced on the people. Usually people don't want to do that. The general public, that is. Mm-hmm. So they're just changing one God out for another one. It's not that they became atheists.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And when Mao overtook China, China at that point in time was kind of a half Buddhist, half Confucianist state, right? Now they are a communist party state, you know what I mean? And that was strictly enforced. Look at what they're doing with, what is that kind of sort of yogic practice that you always see him practicing down at the gates of Chinatown? What is it called? I'm
just going to like throw names out, like Tai Chi.
It's like Tai Chi. It's very similar to that.
It's on the tip of my tongue.
Falun Gong, right?
That's it. Yeah.
Falun Gong. Yeah. Look at how they're persecuting people.
It's Falun Gong.
Falun Gong, is that what it is? Okay.
I think that's how it's pronounced. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Look at how they're persecuting those people, right? I mean, you get thrown in the gulag for practicing Falun Gong, which is basically a meditation practice. That's really all it is. You know what I mean? But if you're not meditating on the state, you got to go downtown forever. You know what I mean? And look, the Uyghurs, look at what they're doing with them in China. This is emblematic of all of that. And it's kind of curious about. Go ahead.
I wouldn't I would not complain if they did that to the Uyghurs in the United States, but I probably would just turn the other way.
Hashtag me too, but yes, indeed. So what was your favorite Biden gaffe this week?
I would definitely have to say sniffing the baby.
Oh God, man.
What, dude? What is wrong with these people, man?
How do they not
know they're on camera?
I know. Biden just can't stop. He can't stop, and we've been calling this out for 30 episodes or so, man. I don't get it, but yeah. And the photos of it, man, are just so creepy, man. As we've always said, Sleepy Joe Biden was coined for a purpose so that it easily moves into creepy Joe Biden. Dude, that was creepy. That's just the bottom line. That was creepy.
That was the creepiest thing.
Yeah. Yeah, man. God.
You know what the worst thing about that is like the mother, when that baby grows older, the mother's not going to be able to say, so, I don't know if it's a boy or a girl, but let's just assume it's a son. The mother's not going to be able to tell her son, like, when you were a baby, you were sniffed by the former president. It's going to be, you were sniffed by a failed candidate.
Yeah.
At the presidency.
Yeah, that's right. That's right, man. You know what I do find interesting about this Biden thing, and I've been talking with my folks about it this week. What the real threat of the Biden candidacy is that, the man is obviously not well. He's obviously Alzheimer's, some type of dementia. He can't keep track of where he is. Everybody's talking about it. This is not a unique observation. What I think is rather unique is, Luke, it's rather terrifying whom he chooses for his vice presidential candidate, right? It's almost as if they're setting up Biden to try to get the office, and then 2 months later, he's got to step down, right? He's unfit for office. And so the vice presidential candidate becomes the president, right? It's almost like that, And so I'm really scared about who that vice.
Yeah, I was about to ask, who do you think that might be? I have two thoughts, but I want to hear yours first. I don't want to taint your opinion.
Well, first of all of my predictions about everything have been wrong. I thought that Elizabeth Warren was going to pitch in with Uncle Bernie, and I think that's really what she wants to do. I also think that Elizabeth Warren is a power player, and so she probably is going to pitch in with Joe Biden and try to throw her few delegates over to Biden to become vice presidential candidate,
I would have agreed with you up until today.
I don't know what happened today. What's up?
That was the one thing that I was actually worried about. Was I thought the only way in which the left can at this point win is if Elizabeth Warren teams up with Bernie. And I was worried that that's why she dropped out. That wouldn't make logical sense as to why she dropped out after the primaries. Perhaps she, perhaps up until then, and she was waiting to see if she could win out through a brokered convention. I'm convinced that was the case. But I think that perhaps now she realizes that's not going to happen. And I was worried that she was going to jump into Bernie's camp, because then that's a power play.
Yeah.
Because you're sort of like, I kind of imagine the left and actually I learned today that I'm wrong on this imagination of the left, or this imagining of the left, of being sort of three parts, right? You've got the furthest left, which is the Bernie bros. Then you've got this, like, they're not quite that left, but they're still pretty hardcore left. And that's the Elizabeth Warren supporters. Pete Buttigieg, I would put in that camp. Yeah. And then you have, the moderate, cucky leftist Democrats, right?
Yeah.
And so I was like, oh man, if Elizabeth stood with the beer, if she jumps into that far left segment, well, you're sort of combining the two, and that's going to be difficult for Biden to overtake. And frankly, I think that would be difficult for. I mean, I don't know if it'd be difficult for Trump to overtake. I still don't think so. I still would wager my money on Trump. But if there was an arrangement that would give Trump a run for his money, that's what it would be. Warren VP, Bernie president. But today she came out, or maybe I think it was last night. So it's kind of just now hitting. I think it hit news like late last night. But she came out on NBC trashing Bernie supporters. So that was actually a huge moment of relief for me, that I don't have to think about that. And what's funny is we're getting ahead of ourselves, but I mean, who cares? We're galloping here. So
yeah, right.
I think we've already moved into primaries. Maybe we can mention the other two Biden gaffes here in a minute, but I'm quoting from a USA Today article here. The title of the article is Elizabeth Warren condemns bullying Bernie Sanders supporters. This article dropped 11 a.m. EST yesterday, actually. So actually, it must have been MSDNC morning show. It says, as she exited the presidential race, Senator Elizabeth Warren took a swipe at the bullying and online nastiness of supporters of Bernie Sanders and said presidential candidates were responsible for their actions of their supporters who do, quote, dangerous, threatening things to other candidates, end quote. Quote, it's not just about me. There's a real problem with this online bullying and sort of online nastiness, end quote, Warren said in a Thursday evening interview with MSDNC's Rachel Maddow when asked about Sanders supporters' online attacks on Warren. Maddow referenced Sanders supporters as calling Warren a, quote, snake and a, quote, traitor and attempting to recruit a primary challenger against her. Warren cited Sanders supporters' attacks on, quote, women of color, immigrant women, end quote, who led a union in Nevada, saying, quote, they actually published the phone numbers and home addresses of 2 women and really put them in fear, end quote. Sanders told Maddow Wednesday evening he was, quote, aghast and disgusted, end quote, by his supporters' actions, but told the MSDNC host, quote, by the way, Rachel, if you don't think that doesn't come into our campaign, talk to Senator Nina Turner, end quote, referring to his campaign co-chair. Finally, Warren thought Sanders' explanation was not enough, saying, quote, we are responsible for the people who claim to be our supporters and do really dangerous, threatening things to other candidates, end quote. Okay, and then this is actually a key point here. So at the very end of the article, in a press conference following her announcement, Warren told reporters she had been told before entering the race that 2 lanes existed, a progressive lane held by Sanders and a moderate lane held by former VP Joe Biden. Quote, I thought that wasn't right, but evidently I was wrong, meaning that she thinks it was right that there are 2 lanes. Both Biden and Sanders have talked with Warren as she exited the race, but Warren was asked about an endorsement in the race or what she would tell her followers to do. She said she wanted to, quote, take a deep breath and spend a little time on that, end quote, before making a decision. So I think if anything, she'll jump into Biden's campaign.
I do too. At this point, yeah.
I think she's that unprincipled and I think she's that much of a pragmatist that she would jump on.
I agree with you entirely. It is clear the way things went down this week before Super Tuesday that there were deals made in the DNC. And Luke, let's go back to a previous prediction we made. Then we went back on, and now I think it's once again absolutely salient and true. There is no way the DNC is going to allow Bernie Sanders to get the nomination at this point. And they totally rigged Super Tuesday against him in favor of Joe Biden. You know what I mean? They totally did. It's obvious, you know? So it goes back to our prediction that they're going to try to do it the quote unquote right way, which in their terms means doing it behind the scenes. Yeah. And then if they have to, they'll do a brokered convention. We said that a few episodes ago. Yeah, we did. Yeah. Right. That's exactly how this is playing out. Yeah, it is. It is. And go ahead. I was going to ask you who, you can finish what you're saying and then piggyback this on. I was going to ask you, I think you had still something else about who you think might be running for Sanders VP. Biden VP. That's what it was. Biden VP. Yeah. I still do not rule out the possibility of Hillary. I've got an article here where Hillary came out this week and said that she would be willing to be a vice presidential candidate. She's always inserting herself into the conversation, right? I didn't know that. Yeah, she did. I saw some activity on Twitter today about how, people talking about how active Hillary has become on Twitter as of the last couple of days, and how she has making the rounds on late night talk shows. Yeah, all that stuff. Yeah, she was on Jimmy Fallon this week, I think is what it was. Yeah, I think so. It was a picture. She tweeted out a picture of her reaching into a bag that was on Jimmy Fallon's desk. And it was like, you're going to have to watch Jimmy Fallon tonight to find out what's in the bag. And I just thought to myself, well, something tells me it's not a bunch of printed out emails. Yeah. Oh, man. Speaking of that, okay, now this is important, but let's stay on the primary race. But I've got a Zero Hedge piece here. I just want to read a couple paragraphs. I'm going to take it from the lead. It goes thus. Hillary Clinton has been ordered to give sworn deposition to Judicial Watch regarding her emails and documents related to the attack on the U.S. consulate in Benghazi, Libya, while she was Secretary of State. The ruling is in response to the conservative legal group's lawsuit, Judicial Watch versus U.S. Department of State, specifically regarding talking points or updates on the Benghazi attack. All right. So what happened is this. Judicial Watch got a decision from, this judge. What is his name? It's here in the piece. Judge Lamberth, right? Judge Lamberth, by the way, I would be hiring personal security right now because of this decision. Serious personal security. Yes. Yes, I would. Right. You don't want to get Arkansided here, Judge Lamberth. Right. But Judge Lamberth ruled that, okay, we haven't heard from Hillary yet. We've heard through her proxies. it's really ridiculous that she has not yet testified about these things. And Judicial Watch is right. She's going to have to give sworn depositions in person to Judicial Watch. So, all right, backing back up to the primaries, dear listener. All right, let's slow the gallop here just a little bit, right? And then we're going to blast right back into it after we slow it up here for a minute. Okay. What I think is that it is entirely possible that Hillary Clinton could pitch in with Joe Biden. I think that's entirely possible. I don't rule out Michelle Obama. Yeah,
that was going to be my second thought. Is that it's Hill Dog country again?
Yeah. I don't rule that out a little bit. She sees an easy lane to the presidency here. She doesn't even have to be elected, right? Right. Basically, she can ride VP with Biden. Biden has to step down in 2 months, or he gets Arkansided as well. And the Black Widow becomes president. You know what I mean? So I think that's possible. Again, I don't rule out Michelle Obama, but I think the way things are going right now, as you characterized it completely accurately, Luke, this is an absolute train wreck on the left right now. Absolute train wreck. They know they are going to lose. So will they bring out their champion to lose to Donald Trump right now in the form of Michelle Obama? Maybe not. Maybe I've been wrong about that all along. I don't rule it out as a possibility, but we'll just have to see what happens. You know what I mean? But yeah, Elizabeth Warren or Hillary is what I realistically think right now. But Luke, I did not see Super Tuesday in the primaries going down the way it did this week. I did not see that, and I don't think anybody did, to be perfectly honest. The DNC is so corrupt and so tilted the scales this week. It was literally unpredictable what they were going to do,
Yeah, dude. Yeah. The corruption is palatable at this point.
Mm-hmm. It
is palatable.
Yeah. It is. Yeah. It's crazy.
Well, if you want, we can hit these last two Biden gaffes, and then we'll jump back into the primaries. All right. So there was another one, the you switched on me.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Where he was Super Tuesday, he's giving a Super Tuesday victory speech, and he goes, "Now my sister, blah blah blah, here on my right." And then he says, "No, my wife here on the right." It was actually his sister. He grabs his sister's hand and starts pulling her forward.
Yeah.
And I don't know, man, is it just me, or if I grabbed somebody's hand other than my wife's, I would immediately know it's not hers. It's like you spend, especially after that many years of marriage that they've had. I mean, you spend so much time holding the hand of your spouse that it's like, I mean, the moment it's not their hand, it's no question. You don't start dragging them up to the stage, and you have to physically look at them before you realize, oh, that's not them.
Right. And not to mention that there is a sense of taste here as well, because we know that Biden knows what his wife's hand tastes like because of that gaffe he made a couple months back. Yeah, right.
That's it, Russ. That's the problem. Yeah. He didn't sniff her hand.
There it is. He didn't get to lick her finger first. Yeah. Yeah. And so, dear listener, what we're referring to is Biden's wife was giving a speech to introduce him, and she held out her hand, and he was kind of behind her and went up and sucked her finger, her index finger, a couple months back. It's the weirdest thing, man. So
yeah, totally.
Oh, poor bastard, man. I mean it. Seriously, poor bastard.
Yeah. So, well, this one isn't a gaffe, but they rejected James. Well, they didn't. This is a Daily Caller piece. They have such sensationalist headlines. James Comey endorsed Biden this week, saying that he voted for him in the primaries. They rejected it at first, and it was the director of rapid response for Biden's campaign that was like, yeah, no thanks. And then afterwards, he was like, actually, sorry. And what's funny is he self-admitted to Trump derangement syndrome, and then was like, anybody who doesn't like Donald Trump is an ally. So. Because he tweeted, he rejected it. And then afterwards he was like, oh, like so many others on the left, my immediate reaction to anything, oh gosh, what was it? He was referring to when James Comey dropped that investigation right before, I think it was the general election, maybe. Mm-hmm. He was referring to that. And then he would just self-admit it to Trump derangement syndrome. And then was
Yeah, I missed all that. Go ahead, man. Yeah, I missed all that. Red pill me. I missed it.
No, that was it. It was just a quick exchange on Twitter, and then he recanted and stepped back. and was like, actually, no, we accept.
Yeah.
Anybody that, and then his Trump, maybe he misdiagnosed his Trump derangement syndrome, because then it really came into effect when he accepted the endorsement by saying that anybody who hates Trump is a fan of ours. So I don't know. He seems very conflicted and confused.
Yeah, very equivocal on this. I got the first denial. Can we return this package with no charge? You know what I mean? I got that.
That was the first tweet. Yeah,
that was the first tweet. The second one I did not realize.
And
Man,
then
I wonder if the deep state didn't come down on him and be like, you're going to do what you're told, son, and you're going to accept James Comey's endorsement. So he had to backtrack. I mean, just a loppy question,
He probably woke up in the morning with or he opened up a package. A package was shipped to him, and he opened it up, and it was just a bed sheet, and that's all it was.
Right.
He had to recant, and then he had to recant.
Yeah, probably. So
his tweet, a printout of his tweet in a bed sheet.
Oh my goodness. That's probably true. That's probably exactly the way it went down. So, yeah.
All right, let's jump back into primaries, dude. So we've got Tulsi up. I'm gonna throw her in first, because this is just the most boneheaded thing on the left. I mean, if they had one viable candidate, even one, if they just had one viable candidate, it would have been Tulsi Gabbard.
Yeah.
But the DNC, in their latest stroke of brilliance, has just raised the threshold for the debates. Because remember, Tulsi still hasn't pulled out of the race.
Right.
And the DNC just raised the threshold for the debate to make sure she can't get on the debate stage, ensuring that it's just Bernie and Biden.
What did they do? Did they just flat out rule no Tulsi on the debate stage?
They raised the threshold for I don't know exactly what the threshold was. I think it was a delegate threshold.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Because Tulsi has very few. So
the threshold before was such that Tulsi would have been admitted into the debates, and everyone was saying, just wait, they're gonna raise the threshold. They're gonna raise, and then sure enough, that's exactly what they did. And then now she's out.
Man, Tulsi Gabbard, I first of all, I mean, clearly she's drop dead gorgeous, right? Okay, so there's that. I think she's actually sane as well. I don't like everything about Tulsi Gabbard. She's very anti-Second Amendment. There's a bunch of other crazy shit she espouses, so I don't love her. But I do think that she is the soldier staying in the race. She told Tucker Carlson months ago, I'm not dropping out until the very bitter end, right? I'm not going to drop out. I think she is here to expose this corruption of the DNC. I think she's going to take the hit and expose it. I think that's what her play is here. Not to become president, to expose the corruption in her own party. Just a guess. I mean, I don't see any other reason for her to. I can't see any other reason for her to remain at this point. Yeah. So
I can't disagree with you on that.
Yeah. She's something else, man. She is. She's a fighter. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
She's a QT 3.14. That's for sure.
Yeah, that she is, man. Have you seen her workout videos? Have you seen any of those?
I've seen one. Yeah.
God. Wow. Yeah. I mean, yeah, she works out hard, man. She does,
Yeah.
And is this true? Have you seen that photo on 4chan where there is like there's a woman's ass sticking up out of a swimming pool, and it says Tulsi 2020, right? And supposedly it's Tulsi Gabbard's ass. And supposedly she was asked in a press conference about this photo, and she said, "Yes, it's my ass." Next question. Have you heard anything about this?
I haven't heard anything about that, but I am dubious on that. I'll put it.
Okay, same here. Okay.
All right. I mean, if she actually said that, it's got to be a joke.
Okay. Yeah.
It has to have been amused mastery.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I that's what I go with as well. But like, I've heard this a few times now. It wasn't just on 4chan that I've heard it. I can't remember where else, maybe Twitter or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I've not been able to confirm it. And I've been trying to. I've been looking up, yes, it's my ass on YouTube. Tulsi Gabbard. Yes, it's my ass.
Russ, you know internet history. Yes, it's my ass. Yes, it's my ass. Just keeps looking it up over and over again.
Yeah. And I can't find it. So it's probably not true. You're probably correct. So,
yeah. Yeah, the people over at NSA are just like, God, this guy just can't get enough of this Google search. He just keeps, he's like the Energizer Bunny.
Totally. I do feel weird about it, searching this. I do. I really do. So, and I don't save many memes anymore like I did back in 2016, but I did save that one. So,
yeah, like when you had, how many Pepes did you have on your work computer at one time?
Man, I mean, on my work computer, I had several hundred, but I moved them off my work computer and moved them to home. And by the time I archived those and deleted them off my hard drive, man, I had, if not 1,000, 800, something like that, 800 Pepes, something like that by the end of it. Yeah. I've got an archive somewhere. I'll look that up. I'll let you know, man.
I remember Russ and I, we were having a drink after we'd each gotten off of our respective jobs at the time. We were having a drink somewhere. We were talking about saving Pepes, and I was like, dude, how many Pepes do you have? And you're like, well, I save them at work, And I'm like, wait. So you save your Pepes onto your work computer? And he was like, yeah. And I was like, how many do you have? He's like, I don't know, a few hundred, 800 maybe. I was like, you've got 800 Pepe memes saved on your work computer. He was like, yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, man, I feel weird even going on to 4chan. I don't go on to 4chan on my work computer.
Yeah, I don't blame you. That's a good practice.
I don't even want that. I don't even want that DNS in my traffic history.
Right. Right. Well, strangely enough, I don't work there anymore. So
yeah, maybe that works out. They probably saw it and were like, "Mother of God."
Yeah. Probably. Yeah.
Well, moving on. In the height of irony here, I've got a Washington Examiner piece. Coup. Sanders supporters fume over disappointing Super Tuesday showing. Quote, CNN's, I'm jumping a couple paragraphs down here. CNN's Jake Tapper referred to the resurrection of Joe Biden's campaign, end quote. Marianne Williamson said in a since-deleted tweet referring to the former vice president's electoral success Tuesday evening, quote, this was not a resurrection, it was a coup. Russiagate was not a coup. Mueller was not a coup. Impeachment was not a coup. What happened on Super Tuesday was a coup, and it will push back, end quote. So.
Oh, wow. Dang.
Your girl Marianne Williamson's coming out swinging. What I find surprising is she's swinging in defense of Sanders. And I find it surprising that, she was complaining so much about having been railroaded out of the primaries. Yet here she is complaining about it or trying to defend anyone on the left. And also, Marianne Williamson, let me modify your statement slightly. The Russiagate and Mueller, they were not a successful coup.
Right.
They were coup. They were not a successful coup. So you need to get your back straight.
That's right. Absolutely correct. So, well, I mean, first of all, I didn't realize she had pitched in for Bernie that much. But, it makes sense that she would, because she did get railroaded by the DNC. Absolutely, she got railroaded. She wasn't allowed to continue, And so, yeah, and Bernie is this kind of dark horse outsider threatening the trail of the DNC. So it makes sense, but dang, I mean, that's a virulent statement right there. Yeah. She will not be permitted to run again. She will not be. That was the end of her political career. In other words, she will not have another run, Sure. So unless she flips Republican, which she can't do that, So, but man, go ahead.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
No, you go ahead. I was going to continue with the article.
Oh, okay. Yeah, please. Yeah, let's stay on topic, and then I'll bring this topic up next. So go ahead. Sorry, my bad.
No, it's all good. So the article continues. YouTuber and professionally aggrieved person Carlos Maza blamed Sanders' lackluster numbers on cable news. Quote, it's easy to blame Elizabeth Warren for this, he tweeted, but the bigger culprit is cable news, which treated South Carolina like a major unexpected comeback for Biden and likely had a huge impact on last-minute voters worried about electability, end quote. And I just thought, I thought that was such a funny tweet. I mean, how dare the news report facts and truth? It might influence the election. God forbid.
Yeah.
And finally, I'm jumping down to the very end of the article here. Nathan Robinson of Current Affairs added elsewhere of the Democratic Party, quote, "If Biden wins the nomination, it will be a real lesson in how power works," end quote. Quote, "Bernie was on track to win," he added. "Bernie had no campaign and they all knew it. So a few phone calls were made behind the scenes to Amy, Pete, Beto. Several million was put into a pro-Warren super PAC. Voila." He continued, predicting the Democratic establishment will release a, quote, "cascade of endorsements, cut deals with Bloomberg and Warren, have everyone turn their fire on Bernie relentlessly, including the media orgs, and try to keep Joe Biden from speaking long enough for people to realize some of his marbles are missing," end quote.
Dang.
Dude, that article was on Wednesday. And yeah, he kind of nailed it.
Yeah, pretty much. Wow.
And you know, what's interesting is, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think Bernie basically destroyed Biden in all of the important states. Like all of the battleground states went to Biden. I'm sorry, Bernie.
Yeah.
And this is not good, because it's in those states that those people are going to then stay home. They're not going to go vote for Biden.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
Really, really bad for them.
Yeah, it is. Surprisingly enough, even though Bernie was polling anywhere between 4% to 6% ahead of Bernie in Texas on Super Tuesday, Bernie was polling ahead of Biden by 4 to 6%. Biden ended up winning Texas, right? Those voters are staying home. They are absolutely staying home for the election proper, right? Now, Bernie did win California. That doesn't surprise me. Anecdotally, in 2016, in that election, I was still in San Francisco at that point in time. I saw nothing but Bernie propaganda, posters, Bernie stickers, Bernie everything, everywhere. I saw no support for Hillary. And then the primary election happens, and Bernie loses 70 to 30%. It just didn't make sense. You know what I mean? So they pulled together in California this time and pushed Bernie across the finish line. So that's a lot of delegates right there, you know? And Bernie won New Hampshire. Bernie won Iowa. They tried to meme Buttigieg into winning Iowa, but he truly didn't. It was Bernie, right? Bernie won South Carolina. Then all of a sudden this surprise comes up on Super Tuesday. Yeah. Biden
won South Carolina. Bernie won.
That's right. I'm sorry. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
But Bernie won Nevada.
Yeah, Bernie won. That's right. He won Nevada and New Hampshire. He also
won Colorado.
He did. Yeah, that's correct. He did.
And he won Virginia and he won Vermont.
Yep, that's right. And let's see. And so let's total up what Biden won. He won Texas, Oklahoma.
Yeah, I can list them off. I've got real clear politics here. So
okay, good.
Okay, so Bernie won Iowa, New Hampshire, Nevada, California, Colorado, Vermont, and Utah. Biden won South Carolina, Alabama, Arkansas, Maine, Massachusetts, Minnesota, North Carolina, Oklahoma, Tennessee, Texas, and Virginia.
That's right.
I think I said Bernie really surprised me. I was wrong on that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That surprised me. It really did. I really figured Bernie would win Virginia. I did. So, but
yeah, I mean, he certainly wouldn't have won Arkansas.
No, there's no way. No,
the Clintons have that state pretty much. That's their pet state.
And that supports our theory about the Clintons pitching in with Biden, and maybe even Hillary pitching in as VP candidate, right? So the first thing that they are going to do is secure Arkansas if they're making a play that way. That's the very first move they'll make. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, my biggest concern is that this whole Barr investigation and all of this stuff is going to come to a head too quickly. I want all of that to come to a head right when Biden seals the nomination. All of that, drop all of it immediately.
Yeah.
I don't know how you feel about that, but yeah.
I agree. That is the ultimate ammunition spend right there. That is the ultimate one, right? I would have to think about it a little bit, but yeah, that would be a good time. I would like to see real investigations into Hunter Biden right at the time that Biden gets the nomination. That's what I would like to see. And, again, I return to my earlier premise about John Bull Durham. I'm not sure that I care about seeing a report. I want indictments. That's it. Just everybody all of a sudden is indicted.
Yeah,
right?
For sure.
No report necessary. Just indictments. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'd have to think about it a little bit, Luke, but I get your point. And I cannot disagree. So,
well, what are your thoughts on Klobuchar? She got blacked.
Yeah, she did. Yes, she did. Yeah, she is a bigger power player than I thought. I thought she was a little bit more earnest and a little bit more impervious to manipulation than I thought. And she, or rather, a little less impervious to manipulation. She straight up got worked by the DNC. And in order for her to gain, I'm guessing, some type of cabinet position in a Biden presidency, she was coaxed into giving up her candidacy before Super Tuesday. And that's so strange, man, because I think both Buttigieg and Klobuchar, would they have been victors on Super Tuesday? No, they wouldn't have. Would they have done well? Yes, they would have. They would have gotten some delegates. You know what I mean? So, but no, they were forced out, And, also the salt about all of this, I've got more salt for you as well. Elizabeth Warren staying in until after Super Tuesday and thereby taking delegates away from Bernie. That's true. All of the salt, the Bernie bros salt about this, what Elizabeth Warren did to Bernie, it's true. It's true.
Yeah.
Seems that the DNC had Elizabeth Warren stay in intentionally, take out Klobuchar and Buttigieg intentionally in order to tilt the scales for Biden. That's the narrative Luke and I are trying to paint here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Crazy stuff, man.
100%. All of them. Bloomberg included.
Yeah.
Bloomberg. He was just there to dilute the vote. That's it.
Yep. That's it. And man, the audacity of these people, they even said it in the debate. They literally said it to him after they trashed Bloomberg in the debates, absolutely wrecked him. They sat there and basically told him, even though we've just wrecked you, we still expect you to fund our election. Pretty much that's what they said. And Bloomberg is going to do it. He's going to throw in, I don't know, $2 bill for this election, something like that.
Afterwards, they're like, yeah, so those about them donations.
Yeah.
I know we humiliated you in front of the entire world, but no, you're 70B still. You can throw us a few shekels.
Yeah. That's fully what they expect, and Bloomberg will comply. It's incredible, man.
Yeah.
I would be like, you know what? I'm supporting Donald Trump now. Were I Bloomberg, I'd be like, I'm giving $1 billion to Donald Trump. I mean, that's just me, but there's some kind of personal rivalry between Bloomberg and Donald Trump that we don't understand. It's this New Yorker thing. We don't know what's going on there. It goes way back.
They have a history for sure. I don't know what the history is. It's probably private, but they have a history.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, did you hear AOC read the Green New Deal after they never mentioned climate change in the last Democrat debate?
Okay. No, you told me that right before, but there's one last thing I want to say.
Oh, sure. Go for it.
One last thing. Yeah. It's about the Bernie Bros salt. Okay. I was reading threads on Poll this week, and there were links to it back to Reddit and stuff like that of all of the salt from Bernie Bros and Bernie Gals about how they got robbed in the primary and how everything, the DNC is so corrupt and all this kind of stuff. Well, dear listener, what the facts are is that it seems that the African-American vote on the Democrat side largely went to Biden because somehow foolishly they equate Biden with Obama. Don't ask me how they do that. Don't ask me how Biden sold it, but that's what's going on. So anyways, I don't have any of these brought up right now, Luke, and frankly, they're too revolting really to read in these hallowed halls, right? But like all these Bernie bros started saying like really racist shit against blacks, dude. Really racist stuff. I mean, appalling to me. Absolutely appalling, Are they just so stupid? Yeah. Are they just so stupid they don't understand what Bernie's trying to give them? Like shit like this is what they were saying. It was incredible. Absolutely incredible. And so, here is another prediction Luke and I have made in these hallowed halls on this trail, dear listener. If they cut Bernie, they burn their party down in the process, and they have just done it. They have just done it.
Yeah.
And, maybe Bernie still gets the nomination. I doubt it very seriously. Luke and I always said they're never going to let Bernie get the nomination. Bernie has already cucked himself, saying, if Biden has more votes than I do at the convention, then that means he is the winner. And yes, of course, I will acknowledge Biden as the candidate. He's already cucked himself, right? So he's saying he's not going to run third party. I don't know that I believe him, Luke. He might just run third party, right?
Yeah.
He's already cucked, and they have burned down their party in the process, dude. And Luke, I'm not talking about a few Reddit threads about this. I'm talking thousands of Reddit threads about this, about how they're never going to vote Democrat again, how they're going to riot in the streets, how they're going to invade the convention, they're going to take guns, all this kind of stuff, dude. It was really seriously crazy stuff. But really the thing that got me is all of a sudden I was like, damn, your racism is literally showing right now. All of you hundreds of Redditors, that's revolting shit you just said. And you said it with the sense of entitlement to say it publicly. If any Donald Trump supporter ever said anything like that, you would have Antifa sicked on your ass immediately for saying something like that. But they get away with it. You know what I mean? Because Antifa are Bernie bros. In other words, these were, I'm certain, Antifa saying this. I can't prove it, but I'm certain they were.
Yeah, dude. I mean, they are. They're all one and the same. And their principle is agree with us or be damned. We don't care if you're white. We don't care if you're black. We don't care if you're gay. Their principle is agree with us or be damned.
Yeah.
So they will go full racism. They'll go full sexism. They'll go full whatever the hell they need and want to go if you disagree, either by block or as an individual. Yeah.
It's crazy, man. Crazy.
Yeah.
And you're right. That's all it is. It is communism, communist ideology. That's all it is.
Yeah.
Nothing else matters. Revolution now,
Yeah.
So,
well, So this week, AOC read in full the Green New Deal on the House floor. And this was after the Democrat debate. Now, this is at least the second debate in which they haven't once brought up climate change, demonstrating that it's all just blowing hot air anytime they talk about climate. And the biggest breaking news about this is that AOC can read. Now, because she demonstrated an astute ability to read. I mean, multiple pages without interruption. She didn't have to ask anybody how to pronounce anything. It was quite impressive, I have to say.
Yeah, I'm impressed. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But there's nothing really anything else to say about that. I've got two more topics, and then we can probably take a break and then close out this final
that sounds
piece.
Good. One observation about AOC that I have to make before we ride on. Okay, yes, that is remarkable that she can read, that she read the entire Green New Death on the floor of the House. There is one other thing that is really remarkable about this, and that is that Speaker Pelosi gave her the floor with which to read that bill. That is remarkable.
I didn't know that. Remarkable. That's funny.
Yeah, she has to have. Yeah, she has to have. You can't speak without the acknowledgement of the speaker, right? Ah. So,
well, there you
unless
go.
It was in committee. Yeah, and it may have been in committee. I don't know exactly where it happened, but nonetheless, it happened with Nancy Pelosi's blessing. This is fascinating. Yeah. So, in other words, Nancy Pelosi is now tied to the Green New Death. That's it. That's the bottom line. So,
I mean, they all are.
Yeah, they all are, truly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, there was this other thing about Cenk Uygur, who is the founder and one of the leaders of the Young Turks, one of the most reprehensible people on the internet, if you ask me.
Yeah, absolutely. And dear listener, if you recall, Luke and I from Politicon last year played the debate between Tucker Carlson and Cenk Uygur, right? That was many episodes back. Yeah, we did. We grab bagged it. Yeah. Anyways, sorry, man.
He was running in California District House 25 and did you see the results for us? Please say no.
Yeah, I did.
Oh, damn it. I was hoping you would.
Yeah, I did. Red pill, dear listener, about it, dude.
Well, he lost.
It's really,
he lost. He had a meltdown on his show again, which was great. So he lost. He lost to not only Christy Smith, who's a Democrat, but he lost to 2 Republicans.
Yes.
The third place was a Republican who more than tripled his votes. And,
exactly.
And the second place, Mike Garcia, a Republican, quadrupled his votes.
That's exactly right.
Just hilarious. And flushed $20 million down the drain.
I know, dude. It's so good. And the Republicans, this district flipped blue, right? That was what's her name? Katie Hill, the one who got busted smoking pot and posing for nude photos in the House chamber with an intern. Yeah. Yeah. Post bobs and vagine, please. Sorry, dear listener. But was it Katie Hill? I can't. It's such a breakneck pace. I can't even remember who it was.
I'm pretty sure it was
her
Hill,
seat. Yeah, Katie Hill. Yeah, it flipped blue. It was a Republican seat. It flipped blue. She abused the seat. She had to resign, right? And so the Democrats are coming back in with this sense of entitlement that they own that seat. What's important to note here is that the 2 Republicans had way more vote than both of the Democrat candidates for that seat. This seat is going to flip red again. Okay. In other words, that's the way it looks right now. And Luke, am I mistaken about this? The Republican candidates in that district, California 25, are having a runoff. Is that correct?
I don't
to reduce
know.
it down to. I don't know about that either.
Know.
I think that's the case. I think it's the case. That they were close enough.
Their combined vote total would be 36,000. Hers would be 28. Even with all of Chank's votes, she still would not have gotten it.
Right.
And down ballot, you've got a Democrat who got another 3,500 votes, but then after that one, there's 4 more Republican candidates.
Yeah.
So if you take the top 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, if you take the top 10 vote receiving candidates, 6 of them are Republicans.
Dang. You know, something else remarkable about that election, I had heard, and not had heard, I literally read that George Papadopoulos was going to run for that seat. I didn't see him on the ballot. I didn't see him. I was surprised.
I think he received some votes, but he was way down.
Oh, so he was there. Okay.
As far as I understand, if I remember correctly. I remember looking that up, and he was so far down at the bottom that he didn't get anything.
That's a shame. That's a shame. Had he campaigned, he would have done well, you know? So, yeah. Well, just on name recognition alone.
Yeah,
so,
for sure.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we gotta roll quickly. So, last thing before we hit break. So Donald Trump, so and this is just more of an observation because this is white pilling. This has been happening in more than one state.
Oh yeah.
Donald Trump received in Texas as an incumbent candidate 1.871 million votes in the Texas Republican primary.
It's insane.
He had more votes than all 4 of the Democrat candidates combined.
Yep.
And
it's insane.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that was more than twice as much as GWB got. That was more than Obama got. I mean, this is just this. I don't know. If I was running for president on the left right now, I'd be on suicide watch.
Yes, absolutely. And dear listener, just to spell it out, Luke's implication here is this, okay? Incumbent parties don't show up for primaries, okay? They don't, because they think that they've got it in the bag. They don't have to go support their guy, so they don't show up to vote.
Well,
they did.
Not only that, but there's nobody to vote for. You show up to a primary to vote for a candidate, and there's multiple candidates, and you want the one you like to win.
Right.
There's not multiple people to vote for. It's just one person. So you don't go because it's just that person's just going to win.
Actually, there were about 7 on the ballot for president, and I was like, "Who the f are these people?"
I didn't even realize that.
Yeah, They got no votes. Everybody showed up and voted for Donald Trump. They got no votes.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm sure that happens, every incumbent candidacy, but including GWB, so
right, exactly. It does.
The point is just the flow through of votes, the volume.
Yes,
is just crazy. It's twice as much as what GWB got, and 3 times as much as what Obama got.
Yeah. I can tell you at my polling place, right? Okay, I walked in, right? The Democrat table looked really slow. They looked really bored, right? the Republican table, right, where you went and picked up your ballot, there was a line of about a dozen, maybe 15 there. So it took me a while even to be able to vote, right? And so as I grabbed my ballot and I went through and I was looking at everybody, there was one cat lady there who was wearing like an eggplant colored blouse and some green pants. I was like, Democrat for sure, Democrat. She actually looked up and smiled at me as I walked past her. I appreciated that. I smiled back, said, hey, how you doing? And I looked around the polling stations, Luke, and I was like, okay, Republican, 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 Republican. I'm like, there's no, this is absolute ass whooping at this polling station. Absolute ass whooping. No question about it. It was really white pilling. And so then I was walking out. I finished my ballot, right? Went and, put it into the machine and everything. And I was like, hey, yo, y'all got some stickers? I want my sticker. Well, the Democrat table had the stickers. Yeah, we have a sticker, yeah. I'm like, cool, I'll take that sticker, rip, put it on my chest. Thank you, ma'am. And I walked out.
That's awesome, man.
It was great, dude. I felt good. So,
all right, dude. Well, take us into break, man, and let's roll.
All right. Dear listener, thank you so much for riding along halfway of these 72 miles with us. We're at a breakneck pace right now. We're going to be at a breakneck pace for the break. Back at you before you know it.
Welcome back to HSP episode number 72. Dear listener, Russ and I are on an auctioneer's pace at the moment, closing out this last segment. We're going to see if we can do 10 or 15 minutes, but don't worry, dear listener, we're not auctioning off your horses. We're auctioning off everyone else that's after us.
Right. That's right.
So,
yeah,
we're on our thoroughbreds. We're at a gallop. Let's do this.
Yeah.
So
let's do it.
You may have heard, dear listener, and Russ, I know you heard that Mark Meadows was officially named Trump's new chief of staff.
Yes, sir.
Now, Russ and I have in the past on previous shows detailed a thesis that we have about Trump, and this, well, actually, it was a hypothesis. No, I'm sorry. It was before a hypothesis. Now it is a theory.
Yeah.
Because, well, let me detail this first about Mark Meadows. So, Mark Meadows he assumed office in January 3rd of 2013. Russ, he is a member of the Republican Party. He chaired the Freedom Caucus.
Yeah. He founded the Freedom Caucus. Yeah.
He's a founder of the Freedom Caucus. He chaired it from 2017 to 19. He's been one of Trump's closest allies. I'm going to run through just some stuff. This is all on his Wikipedia. You can find all this on Wikipedia, but I'm going to run through because this is so white pilling, top to bottom. So Meadows has signed the Contract from America, a set of 10 policies assembled by the Tea Party movement. In 2014, he introduced the Federal Records Accountability Act, a bill that would change record-keeping requirements about some types of communication to ensure information is not lost. Basically, it's deep state legislation. In 2015, Chaffetz, who you may remember, so Meadows was serving as chair of the subcommittee on government operations until 2015, and Republican Congressman Jason Chaffetz removed him from the position. It was a form of punishment. And he removed Meadows due to Meadows having voted against a procedural motion that the Republican leadership presented. This would have been John Boehner and Chaffetz at the time. And he was one of 34 Republicans who voted against the motion. And that's important. Remember, there's a small cluster of Republicans that we like. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, not anymore. That cluster is growing.
It is exponentially, yes.
Yes. And it allowed this legislation allowed for the consideration of Barack Obama's request for fast track authority on trade agreements. Speaker John Boehner supported the measure. And many Republicans felt it gave too much power to Democrats and Obama specifically. Chaffetz's action, it was seen as controversial at the time, and none other than Ted Cruz spoke out against the punishment at the time.
Right.
Meadows was the one in 2015 to file a motion to vacate the chair in order to strip Boehner of his leadership position.
That's right.
This action was widely seen as an escalation of the feud between a faction of conservatives and the GOP leadership. conservatives had long urged a coup against Boehner, whom they viewed as too eager to make deals with Democrats.
He was a cuck.
I'm just drinking it in, Russ.
I know, brother. I know it.
2019, Meadows told newly seated Representative AOC, and this is actually just funny, this is why I highlighted this, that lawmakers need more than 3 days notice to attend questioning because they're busy and not just, quote, sitting around eating bonbons, end quote. This is Trump's new chief of staff.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
Okay. On the 2013 federal shutdown, Meadows had described as playing an important role of the 2013 government shutdown. He wrote an open letter to Boehner and Majority Leader Eric Cantor encouraging them to, quote, affirmatively defund the implementation and enforcement of Obamacare, and a relevant appropriations bill is brought to the House floor on the one-turn, blah, blah, blah. In any case, it was Meadows and his crew that they were the small contingent of Republicans who actually had the cojones to try and repeal Obamacare. We don't have any Obamacare today because Trump wasn't able to repeal it. We have Obamacare today because Chaffetz and Boehner weren't willing to repeal it before.
Right.
That's why we have it today.
And also one subnote to what you just said about Eric Cantor. That action that Mark Meadows took against Eric Cantor ended up leading to Eric Cantor getting primaried out of his office in Virginia.
I didn't know that.
Then. Yeah. But it was the action that Mark Meadows took. Everybody was like, yeah, screw this guy. He's out. You know, now it has since flipped blue. That seat is flipped blue, but it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. It was already blue.
Yeah. Yeah. That's it. That's exactly it. It
is already blue. So who cares?
Yeah. True.
I'd rather, I would rather it be blue and we know it's blue than it be red and think it's red. When it's not, It's actually blue.
Right.
At least we know now that it's blue.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So, dear listener, this painting that Luke is painting for you right now, okay, we hope that you see the point that Mark Meadows is anti-cuck and always has been.
Yeah.
He has been one of the cuck purgers in the Republican Party, right?
Since day one.
Always has been. Since day one.
Yeah.
Right.
I'll continue. So the resolution that he filed to remove John Boehner as Speaker of the House passed. It passed. The Committee on Rules was considered to have many members who were loyal to Boehner, so the resolution was seen as unlikely to move forward, when in fact it actually did. Meadows said when he filed the resolution that he did so because Boehner had, quote, endeavored to consolidate power, bypassing the majority of Congress, through inaction caused the power of Congress to atrophy, uses the power of the office to punish members who vote according to their conscience, has intentionally provided for voice votes on consequential and controversial legislation to be taken without notice and with few members present, uses the legislative calendar to create crises for the American people, allowed members less than 3 days to review the legislation before voting, and limited meaningful debate on the House floor. Does that not perfectly describe and encapsulate what it means to be a cuck on the right? I cannot think of a better set of criteria.
Yeah, it does.
He basically filed a motion and said, John Boehner, I hereby officially accuse you of being a cuck.
Yeah.
And here are all of the reasons why.
Pretty much.
And here's Boehner's response. He says, quote, listen, oh no, I've got to do a smoke. Listen, you have a member here who's a member of the Stars who they're off the reservation. No big deal. Listen, this is one member, all right? I've got broad support among my colleagues, and frankly, it is even deserving of a vote.
Yep. Oh my goodness.
That guy smokes like a chimney.
Yeah, he does. He does. He drinks like a fish as well. No complaints about that. But he's also now, he had to resign because of all this. He had to not run again. No, he resigned. He just straight up resigned his seat. Did he not? Yeah, he did. He did. Right. He is now a marijuana lobbyist. That's a fact. That's his new gig.
No. The motion passed and he was removed his seat.
And then he resigned from the House. Is that right? I
see what you're saying. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I misunderstood.
I think he did. Yeah. I don't know, man. Ancient history. It's hard to keep up with.
Yeah, I know. But, I'm just glad we don't have to hear the name Boehner anymore.
Yeah, no, Boner.
I know.
Me and our boy in San Francisco used to joke about it all the time. It's Boner, bro. Just own it. It's not Boehner. It's Boner. Yeah.
Well, so Meadows has he's appeared with Trump. So all of this, yes, the picture we're painting here, a few episodes ago, we described the Republican Party as having the president, actually, President Donald Trump, as having been a Tea Party president because he's pulling in the Freedom Caucus. He's saying, who are the OGs around here? Who are the principal people? Who are the people that are going to do the right thing? I don't think Trump was a Tea Party president going into his presidency because he actually had a lot of problems with them in the beginning.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and that's right.
I think he was looking around and he was like, you're swamp, you're swamp, you're swamp, you're swamp, you're swamp. Who the hell around here is not swamp? And you have Ted Cruz and Mark Meadows and all these guys over here, Doug Collins, Matt Gaetz, all these guys like, yo, us, hey. And then they just raise their hand and Trump's like, okay. And then figures out, wow, these people are these people are honest. They have principles. Okay, these are my people. And now he's bringing them in and it culminates until now you have a founder of the Freedom Caucus. He was the chair of the Freedom Caucus from 2017 until last year and is now Trump's chief of staff. I could not be happier with this move. We are totally vindicated in our prediction that he is a Tea Party president. And Russ, this is so white pilling. I could not be happier.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. Other than we lose a warrior in the House, right? I'm happy about this also because Mick Mulvaney has been acting chief of staff and he is secretary of Office of Management and Budget as well. And Mick Mulvaney is a straight up genius. Sometimes questionable with how he stands with the president. We don't know. It's unclear, right? But now we have a true gangster running the chief of staff for the president, and that is fantastic. And there is one other thing that happened this week as well, and that is that Trump, for the second time, nominated John Ratcliffe for the office of the DNI, right? Director of National Intelligence. Okay. Once again, he's my congressperson. John Ratcliffe is. He's my congressman, man. I'm sad to lose a warrior on the floor of the House out of the Freedom Caucus. But, dear listener, this is great because he has seen all of the Spygate documents. He's seen all of them, right? He is probably going to get the nomination in the Senate, most likely, right? Because it's a Republican Senate. So it's probably going to be John Ratcliffe at DNI, right? He knows exactly what happened with Spygate and all of this corruption going on, right? You see, these are two, how do you put it, Luke? These are power plays that the president just made this week. Absolute power plays.
100%. Agree.
Yeah.
And fantastic. Could not be happier.
It is.
And for those of you who don't or didn't listen to the episode or don't remember, the reason we're so white-pilled about all of these people coming from the Freedom Caucus and Trump now literally surrounding himself with Freedom Caucus politicians is because the Freedom Caucus is the political manifestation of the Tea Party.
That's right, man.
And the Tea Party was a fantastic movement. It was pro-limited government. They were like all of the best things about libertarian and discarding all of the idiotic parts of libertarianism. That's what the Tea Party, like, combined with some conservative values. It was like this unique mixture of everything that you want, right? And after the Tea Party sort of fizzled out, you had a few people like Mark Meadows. Who else, Russ?
Devin Nunes.
There were
Jim Jordan.
They were you're kind of looking around, and as the smoke is clearing, Obama's reelected, and they were like, okay, what do we do now? Where do we go from here? And then they formed. You had some members of the House, Republican House members, form the Freedom Caucus. That's what the Freedom Caucus is, and all of these people were people elected during the Tea Party movement. So Trump is taking Tea Party politicians, and he is surrounding himself with Tea Party politicians. It's so great, dude. It's more than we could have ever hoped from Trump.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And also in the process, thereby giving them a lot of executive power, and
influence.
Right? Yeah. And yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
And I think the most important thing is ideological influence. That's the thing that I'm most excited about. They're going to start putting ideas in Trump's head where Trump is probably may or may not have thought about it. I'm not quite sure, but they're going to start planting seeds in Trump's head, like, hey, if you really want the economy to blow up, the way to do it is deregulate it. Yeah, this is the stuff. Yeah. And Trump's already been a deregulatory president, and now his chief of staff is Tea Party. I mean, come on, dude.
Yeah,
you couldn't ask for anything better.
Yeah, it's good stuff, man. It's good stuff. John Ratcliffe at DNI, Mick Mulvaney being able to concentrate on the budget now instead of try to run the office and concentrate on the budget, right? Oh, yeah, this is really good stuff. And I mean, dear listener, I formally announce, right? Luke and I reported, man, maybe 25 episodes back. Okay. The mothers of children who had been killed by illegal aliens. Remember when they went and tried to approach the president, they got into a shouting match with Kellyanne Conway on the phone and all that kind of stuff. They weren't given access to the president. This is not ever going to happen again with Mark Meadows as chief of staff. That will never happen again.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep. So.
All right, dude.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's got to call it. We're both back in it on time, and I am 1 minute over my goal of being finished. Well, actually, I'm 16 minutes over my goal, but I'm 1 minute over my hard red lights going off, and I'm gonna have a hungry wife coming in here soon because I'm supposed to barbecue.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and I got to get on the road as well. Dear listener, it was my fault this week, so short show is on me this week. Luke, I'm sorry,
I think
man.
They like the short show, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I think they do too.
Man.
Yeah, it does. It does, man.
I'll tell you what, this thoroughbred's getting tired though, so I got to pitch camp.
I know.
Yeah, I
know. All right, dear listener. All right, we rode hard today, right? We're not going to ride hard and get put up wet. We're going to sit here and pitch camp. We're going to have some food. We're going to pass around some drink. We're going to enjoy each other's company. Thank you so much for riding along these 72 miles with us. Luke and I are going to be back at you next week on time and under budget. You believe that. Meanwhile, Luke, you take care of yourself, brother. Great show.
All right, you too, brother. Great show.
All right.
Late.